I hope you are having a wonderful day. Today we are actually having a snow day. I don't know if you can see behind me, but it is now snowing. We are in the last bit of February. Today's date is, I believe, the 28th. Tomorrow is going to be the 1st of March. So today we are going to be starting our tomato seeds. I'm going to talk to you about how what varieties we are using, methods that I use, something really cool that I just learned today that I kind of stumbled upon. I had no idea about, but I had some of the materials here, so we're going to be using them. When starting tomato seeds, we are going to be starting our seeds 10 weeks before your last frost date. So where you live, your start date for your seedlings is going to be, it's going to vary because you want to start your seedlings 10 weeks before your last frost date. Here in Zone 5, where I live, we, our last frost date is May 15th. So I just look at the calendar and I count back 10 weeks and then I know when to start my tomato plants. So if you live in a lower zone, like Zone 7, Zone 8, you're going to be starting much earlier than us. If you live in a Zone 1, 2, or 3, you're going to be starting your seedlings a little after us. Today, we're not going to be starting too many varieties. We are going to be starting Roma tomatoes, which is a canning tomato. And we grew them last year. And I have to tell you, we had, off of only 4 plants that I grew, we had more tomatoes than we knew what to do with. It was an insane amount of tomatoes. And the amount of things that you can do with aroma, they're really good for drying, but you also can use them in your salad. You really can. And we're only going to be doing another one. So Romas are determinate tomatoes. So I will be growing those in my grow bags this year. And the reason that I'm going to choose we talked about before, if you had watched my previous video on growing in the containers and the grow bags, you want to choose a determinate tomato, a determinate plant. You shouldn't really be going with the indeterminates. Indeterminates should be grown outside in the ground because there's no determined amount of how big an indeterminate is going to grow. So I'm going to save on space in my garden bed, I am going to grow my Roma tomatoes, which is a determinate, in my grow bags. Now for my indeterminate tomato, I have a black Krim tomato. Very delicious, heirloom variety. Nice dark deep purple. I will be adding these into my sauces. I will be adding these into my tomato soups to give a flavor, but it will be a small percentage so that I can have just something special and unique for our home on our homestead, but I will have the thickness from the Roma because these are going to be a little bit more on the water side. They are originated in Russia, so they're going to be able to handle a little colder climate. So that's really cool. That's a cool little feature to have. So if you're growing in a colder climate, you might want to look into the black Krim. Awesome, awesome tomato. So now that we have talked about the types of tomatoes that we are going to be growing this year, now let's talk about how we are going to be growing them and what we are going to do to start our seeds. Now in here, first off, I have soil. I just picked up, I think it was at Ocean State Job Lots. I picked up a few bags. It was $3.50. It was really cheap starting seed mix. Organic though, I always find the organic. And with the starting mix, everybody says, oh, you should use this, it's fine. As long as it doesn't have big chunks of wood in it, you're good to go. Because they don't need that much nutrients in the beginning as they're emerging, which I found something really cool that we're going to talk about in a little bit that is going to help whoever's watching this and me, our plants really thrive this year. So next on the list, oh, I forgot to mention, I baked my soil at 350 degrees for 20 minutes before I start any of my seedlings, because I want to kill off any molds or bacterias or bugs that are in there that are going to harm my seedlings. So I always bake at 300 to 350 degrees for a half an hour, and then I pre-moisten my soil always before I get started. That way I don't have to worry about watering after. In a couple days I'll water. So that is our soil. I've been using this for years. An old turkey roasting pan, an aluminum one. So that's working for me. After I had washed out all of my plastic seed starting trays, I realized I didn't have any tape to write on. So I'm actually using paper cups this year that I have cut holes in. Cheap, good way to start seeds. I have a marker so that I can label which variety is which in my cup. I also have, I stole one of my pizza pans because I like this because it has the holes in the bottom so that none of the water will just stay stagnant at the bottom of my pan. And I have saran wrap. So let's get started. Okay, I am filling halfway and pushing down. And then I'm going to show you and talk to you about something really cool that I learned today. So now that we have our soil halfway into our little cups and pressed down firmly, I want to talk to you about something that I learned about today. Something really cool that I am going to try. And I was to find ways to make my own grow bags with sheep's wool. As you all know, people that have been following this channel, we raise sheep here. So I was going to take the wool and I was going to felt it and I was going to make my own grow bags because I thought, how cool is that? I have the supplies already here. I will just make my own grow bags. I didn't find a way to make my own grow bags, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to manage to do this someday. But I did find that there was a gentleman who is a sheep farmer in Utah, and he wanted to find ways to incorporate sheep farming into gardening. You can use the sheep manure for fertilizing gardens, but he, with a few universities, got together and they started trying out sheep's wool in gardens to see what components it had and how it would work. Found was that it had 9 to 14% nitrogen, which is like mind-blowing. And I know that everybody says, whoa, hold on. You should not use that much nitrogen because you're going to put on a lot of greenery and you're not going to put on a lot of fruit with it. But I guess the way that it breaks down, it is a slow release, so you're not getting all of it at once. So it takes, within 30 days, it starts to break down and starts to feed your plants, which is fantastic because as our seedlings are going to take 2 weeks to germinate, then 2 weeks after that, when they're really going to start putting on their second true leaves, is exactly when the wool will start to feed the plants. He is selling these wool pellets for gardens, for container gardening, for in the ground gardening, and for starting with the seeds. Today, I have made up my own little wool pellets, and I'm going to be adding them into my seeds, my seed cups, and I'm going to see how it works. You know what? I'm going to try, let's do an experiment. I'm going to try half, I will put wool pellets in, and half I'm not going to put wool pellets in, and we'll see. We're going to do an experiment and we're going to see if it actually works. All right, guys, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an X on each one that has a wool pellet. So let's do this. All right, and now we're going to add almost up completely to the top, because we only need just a small little bit. When you're doing starting seeds, you only need the length of the seed is the depth of the soil that you're going to cover up. Okay, so now that we have everything all filled up to the top, pressed down, we can now just quickly add our seeds and write down exactly what it is that we're going to do. So let's start with aroma. This is actually a seed pack that I've been working on for the last couple of years. I'm telling you, the amount of tomatoes we have gotten from these has been incredible. So let's get these Roma tomato seeds in. Okay, I am just going to do, we got 1, 2, 3 in there. We will thin these out. So these are all of my Romas. And then we're going to do, this one looks a little shy on soil, so let's get that one packed in there. All right, so now these are ones that do not have the wool pellet in there. I cannot wait to see how this is gonna work, guys. And we got 1, 2, 3. So we have 6 in total. And now let's cover them with soil, smush them down, pat them down. You seeing what we got going on, guys? Okay. And here's my marker. So I'm gonna write down aroma. And the date is 2/28. Wow, all right. We're clipping along, guys. Okay, so now that we have everything all seeded and everything's labeled, we can just throw everything right here on this tray and get it covered up and bring it inside and keep these nice and moist until they emerge and the warm weather comes. Cover them up, keep them nice and moist. As soon as they sprout, you take this off, the covering off, and you keep it off the rest of the growing time. This is only to keep moisture in because tomatoes like high humidity. All right, guys, so, woo! All right, guys, so now that we have completed our tomato seed planting for 2023, I'm going to get these inside because it's kind of a little cold out here. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And I'm going to talk to you guys real soon. Bye.